we have a very special guest with us. We have Mr. Yuval, who is currently a computer science student at IIT BHU. He is also currently serving as a junior security intern at BugBase. He is working at the intersection of red teaming. And the best part is that he was accepted at BugBase through Cyber Unbound. So that is why Yuval is a very special guest. And it's a pleasure to have you, Yuval, at this podcast today. So, Yuval, I first wanted to understand that how did you first get into cybersecurity? From where did you actually develop your interest and passion into cybersecurity?
Okay, thanks for the intro, Mr. Shikar. So basically, in my first year, there's this club of programmers in our college. They conducted a CTF. It was fresher only CTF, and I had no idea about that CTF or anything about CTF in general. So I just googled a bit, asked a few seniors, and they told me just sit in it, explore it, and see what where it takes you, right? So I sat in it. I tried to do some challenges, and I remember I ended up being 12th in my college in freshers at that time. So I felt quite happy, first of all. And the second thing that the whole process was pretty good. I liked a few things, and the most thrilling part of it was that, the 48-hour competition, sitting in it, competing with your friends, and then, learning something along with it. So I didn't lose on it, and I kept on learning about CTFs and cybersecurity in general. So I got selected into the club, and like from there on, it just is a learning growth opportunity. I would say, well, given CTFs and all since then.
So, did you formally do any kind of costly certifications like OSCP or CPTS?
No, I didn't take any certifications. I think
And
no
how,
one at a graduate level is able to afford it if you are a decent
right,
student.
got it. And why do you think like doing CTFs, solely CTFs, is a better learning opportunity than doing certifications in terms of ROI, in terms of learning experience?
So I think basically, first of all, CTF is a team event, right? So like whenever you work professionally, also you work in a team, and tackling problems in a team and learning alongside a team, I think it gives you a very good exposure to things that you won't get individually, or even you won't even get motivated for. When you're playing for a team, you're playing with people, you are always going for that first rank, and in terms of that, you will always push yourself to a bit extra to learn something new in every CTF. So like if every week you are giving one CTF, also by the end of the year you'll learn about 50 new things. So that's, I think, much more you know good way of learning than certifications. I guess certification is more like an exam. It's like you have to sit for exam like you sit in college or school, but it doesn't give that thrill and fun.
Got it. And because you spoke about CTFs, you are currently the club president for the cybersecurity club at IIT BHU, right?
Yeah.
And your CTF team is one of the highly ranked, nationally highly ranked CTF team in the country. So I wanted to understand more about your CTF team. How do you operate it? Why does it rank so much nationally? What is something special you guys are learning in your CTF team? As well as what's your tips for students who want to start their own college CTF team or probably develop their CTF team further? What's your thoughts on that?
Okay, so currently I am the co-lead of IIT BHU CyberSec. That's our team, and we are ranked 10th nationally. So basically, so our institute has this club of programmers. I mentioned about it earlier also. So this club of programmers has four verticals. The infosec being one of the verticals. The vertical, takes workshops, conducts events, and a part of it is playing CTFs and conducting CTFs. So the CTF part is handled by the IIT BHU CyberSec team. So I would say we basically start training students from the first year itself, not in that traditional sense of training as in taking workshops, only workshops. We basically leave them to CTFs, but it's like a daily CTF. So there's a challenge. We release a challenge every day, and students tackle it. We take them from a beginning, like just opening a file and finding the flag, to more advanced things, proper exploitation techniques, and we just don't give them any resource for it. We don't give them any resource. They are just left with the challenge, and they have to Google it. They have to learn it by themselves, but they have to just do a small thing in a single day so that they can learn about it. So that is how we start training the students. Once we feel that we have, this process has taken some good time and some students have learned some amount of stuff that now they can apply, we then conduct a proper institute-wide CTF through which we select the students, and then obviously we train them. We uh, segregate them according to categories, so that if you focus on one or two categories, you are better at it. You can't do everything, right? So that's how the team operates. Yeah.
Got it. And
And
what were some challenges which you faced with your CTF team?
challenges, I wouldn't say that there are challenges. Obviously, when you are managing a team, obviously there are stuff you have to handle from the management side as well. So I think one major concern that I felt when I was leading the team is that that there are 12, 13 people in the team, right? So it's always, there sometimes there are CTFs in which you can only take 5 people with you. So now there's always this whom to take. So you have to maintain that balance, and you can't be just partial to someone. You have to give everyone a fair chance. Secondly, like, there were some students in the team who felt that they are good if they are playing individually, but they can't cooperate with the team, or sometimes they feel that they are not able to contribute enough, so they feel demotivated. So these are the stuff, I think, if you take this to a personal level, you bond with everyone because they are mostly juniors, so less seniors, more juniors every year. So I think you have to bond with them to sort these problem out.
Got it. And are there any plans for your CTF team to compete globally? For example, Carnegie Mellon, they have a very good CTF team, and they are globally ranked as number one team in the world. So, do you have any plans to probably compete with their team or compete globally? DEF CON, any other conferences?
So conferences wise, we are planning to kind of, right now we are reputed in like global CTFs. We sometimes perform quite good. People like really good, famous CTF personalities know me personally. They know our team. But if you say like as an institute body, the team, we are not yet participating in conferences or have a name worldwide. But yeah, we are working on that. I think very soon we'll have that also.
Got it. And those students who already have an interest in cybersecurity since high school, because I meet a lot of these students who already have an early interest for cybersecurity. Do you think they should join those kind of colleges which already offer cybersecurity programs, or should they go to those colleges which have strong brand reputations like IIT?
Uh, Actually, like definitely there's a constraint that you are saying that these students are interested from high school. But I do think that like interests change. I do feel personally, I do feel that like I've seen many of my batchmates, who keep taking these different things, and then they end up doing something completely different. Like in my seniors also, I've seen my batchmates also. So I personally prefer that instead of going to cybersecurity specific schools, until unless you are like 210% sure you are sure what you have to do in your career, you know what everything is. I think it's better to take a general engineering college, do that degree, and keep on exploring what you want to do. Like obviously there's a scope of higher education as well. And if you are doing good in something, I think you will get the opportunity from whichever college or branch you are. That doesn't like change that.
Got it. And you had mentioned that you have done CTFs before. So did you also do any kind of formally, any kind of VAPT projects through your club? For example, some industry company would have given you a project, or have you done bug bounty before? Do you have any kind of formal experience in those aspects?
Me personally, no. But like last year, or even like a few batches that have passed out now, they were involved in these projects, yeah, and bug bounty also. Me personally, I am not.
Okay, so this question was just to understand your profile better, right? Now, what I want to lead this podcast forward to is that your profile got shortlisted by BugBase, right? There were three
Yeah.
rounds of interviews, L1, L2, and L3. Now, in the same pool, when you had applied through Cyber Unbound, we had candidates who already had OSCP certifications. They had internship offers from KPMG. They were interning at KPMG. Some of them were also working professionals. So, what do you think actually made bug-based recruiters to actually shortlist your resume? I mean, you did not have any certifications, you did not have any formal experience. So, according to you, what do you think actually made them? I mean, what highlighted was, I mean, what was a highlight in your profile that made it shortlist?
Okay, so definitely I applied through Cyber Unbound, right? So I was at the time first on the platform. So I think that was one major thing that, even I got they shortlisted me for the interview. I think that was the first highlight. Other than that, I do feel my CTF experience, I think they liked it. And my general approach to problem solving as well. So I had highlighted this in my interviews that like I don't have a very large skill set, but I can quickly adapt to any skill set. Like if there's a problem, I can quickly relate it to other problems, and I am able to solve that problem. So I think that highlighted in my profile very well.
Got it. And I think one more highlight of your profile was that you had a vetting score of 1, right? I mean, even today till date, you are the most highly ranked CTF player on our platform. You have rank 1, right? Which is a very big achievement. None of the folks who have OSCP certificate are even close to your rank. So, I mean, how did you achieve rank 1, and how do you like keep your score and rank consistent on our platform? Like, what's your approach?
So, like I was saying, so whenever a problem comes on the platform, uh, instead of looking at it in a more traditional way, I always see it like a just like a problem, and I try to relate it to other CTF challenges, or from the POV of the developer or the challenge author as to how he would have made the challenge. I list down some possible attack methods, and I just try one, like each one of them, and until I get the flag. So that's the general approach to problem solving. I think I learned this through CTFs as well. So
So I've heard about BugBase even before we started Cyber Unbound, is that a lot of candidates feel that the BugBase interview process is very rigorous. That BugBase usually likes to ask questions, and they like to ask questions which goes in a lot of depth, right? When you were when you were being interviewed through BugBase, how was your interview experience? Like, did you did you face any kind of anxiety? How did you actually successfully pass this interview? Because a lot of shortlisted candidates, they usually fail the L1 interview. So how did you make it pass the L1 interview?
okay, so actually it's quite funny. I was traveling that day, so I had no idea that I would be giving an interview. Shikhar called me, and I just got ready for it. So basically, so the I think the main I always highlighted the point, like even before I got shortlisted, that I'm only a CTF player, right? I have no professional experience or certifications as such, but I knew that I had this problem solving ability and I can learn things very quickly. So like if I've been given something, I can adapt to that. So the technical interview, L1 round. So the first question I was asked, it was like what categories of CTF I like to play. So I actually don't play a specific category as such, but I like to tackle binary exploitation, web exploitation, and forensics mostly. Forensics is mostly in CTFs it's not much close to real world, or it's just blue teaming stuff, so they were not interested in that. But binary exploitation and web exploitation is something that you need to have depth for. So they started with binary exploitation. He asked me like what I have covered. So I just talked about like I know a bit of stacks, buffer overflows and stuff. So he directly asked about the protections in stacks. Like the first question he asked me was about stack canaries. So he gave me multiple situations in that I had to give mitigations. Then he asked a few more things. I answered some, I couldn't answer some, but yeah, I think I answered just enough that they accepted me for the next round. In terms of web exploitation, he was asking mostly you know, general stuff that that is not in an exploitatory sense, but if you are into security you should know. Like, he was not asking about attacks per se, but you know, he was asking about the origin policies, because they are used. If you are a security engineer, you should know about the origin policies, even though you are not using it directly in a script form or a payload form. So that was the thing. One thing that I really liked was, in stacks, he gave me a question, you know, that was a situation that he told me that I had a certain form of doing something, but you know, a certain kind of I had a certain kind of method to achieve something, not related to anything, but I had some a thing to do, something a thing. And then he gave me a b thing, and he told me to use this a thing to kind of attack the b thing, which is the complete, like, it was a completely imaginary situation, but I had to think about it. And I think that's where my you know, this problem solving skill highlighted the most, because it was a situation that is not written somewhere. It's something that only someone who understands the problem can answer the problem, right? So I think that's where I was able to answer correctly, and I think that highlighted my interview.
Got it. So the last part which you mentioned was that people who understand the first principles, or let's say the first fundamentals, are the ones who can actually crack such interviews, right? Because you're not being able to given a actual technical problem, right? You're given a situation. Now,
Yeah.
the same interview were done by a lot of these candidates who had CRTO certificate. People had CPTS, OSCP certification. And one thing which I was being able to see was that they weren't being able to articulate their answers well. Even though they had a lot of good technical knowledge, they had very good AD pen testing skills, they weren't being able to articulate it in one line or two lines. For example, even your interviewer told you, right, that you have to articulate it in two sentences. I don't want like big paragraphs. So how do you think students can build such communication skills, and how can they really think under stress or under pressure and under like time limit? What's your advice to that?
So I think the first, you know, the first thing that actually I was also like never prepared as such for, you know, communication. But I think college teaches you quite good part of this if you are active in college, obviously. So for me personally, it was, you know, taking responsibility in the club. I was a first year student. I tried to contact seniors, so that builds a, you know, relationship, and you try to, you know, communicate with seniors, and you get to know stuff that improves your communication skills. Then when I got selected in the club, I always, you know, volunteered for taking workshops. You know, presenting something in front of 300, 400 students, it always builds confidence. You always get to know, like, uh, you know, there's something you want to tell, and then there's something that comes out of your mouth, right? So how to make those two things as close as possible is what workshops taught me. And now now I'm the leader of the club, so managing students is also, you know, part of the job. So I think anyone who wants to, you know, build communication skills, instead of just, you know, focusing I want to build my communication skills, just, you know, interact with people, take responsibility wherever you get the chance, and I think you will learn it by yourself.
So, because you're the club lead, I think you're also responsible for sharing your tips and your knowledge with the students ahead. Now, there are many students who would be watching this podcast, right? What are your tips to students who want to build a proper profile for cybersecurity without spending too much money on certifications? What would be your roadmap for them for actually building a soundproof profile?
So you know, certifications, I don't think if you're in college you actually do need certifications. Obviously industry standard is certifications, but like, you can build a very strong profile without certifications as well. So I think the major part that most people miss is, you know, having a good depth, the knowledge from the, you know, developer side as well. Like, if you're attacking an application, I think most people, what they do is they understand the attacks, exploits the attacks, and like they stop there. for me it was always, I tried to understand how that thing is built, on what this thing is built, and like what can be the possible scenarios in which the developer built it. I think that actually gives you an extra, sense of the application you are trying to target, or even if a CTF challenge, you will always know something extra if you know how it has been built. So the depth of everything. Like if you are into binary exploitation, for example, you will work a lot with C. So just go one depth deeper, and you will understand how memory actually works. You will understand how the attacks that you are using, how they work, so that if something new comes up tomorrow, you already understand how it works. So I think that's the major thing that most people miss while building a skill based profile.
Got it. And now coming to your actual experience of BugBase, can you first explain us what BugBase do and what is your current day-to-day job like at BugBase, and what are some of the cool things which you're working at BugBase?
Okay, so BugBase is it's an early startup, I would say, which is working to kind of ease out the bug bounty scene in the industry. So uh, it does pen tests as well, and it's currently building some automation tools as well. So in short, yes, that's what BugBase does. And it's kind of good for, especially for Indian bug hunters as well as companies, because it's always easier. First of all, there is nothing like this in the market as of now other than them. And second, it's always easier if the payments and everything works in Indian currency. So that's an other ease. Yes.
And what is your work day-to-day?
So I work in all the three things that the bug base is doing. So I do pen tests for them, and sometimes I do this bug bounty triaging as well. Like some bug gets reported, my job is to verify the bug and tell the company that this has been a bug has been reported and it's verified. And thirdly, I am doing some development work as well for the tools that they have been building.
Got it. So I think you're also doing triaging and pen testing for BugBase. So because you have been working on triaging and pen testing, but I think you never had any formal experience before, right? Before BugBase, you just had CTF experiences. So how well do you think your CTF experience translated to something which is real world and real hands-on thing?
So the in the end the exploit scenario is pretty similar to CTFs. The only thing is that in CTF that there is a bug. In pentest you don't. So the scope of it is very very large. And pentest is more rule based. Like you make a checklist first. It's more in a sense, I would say, corporate, that it works very structured and organized way. So you first make a checklist, you discuss all the functionalities, you try to understand the application. You then make a list of all checkpoints, and then you one by one try to do all those checkpoints. You use more of automated tooling as well, and there are no like in general cases. Obviously, if the pen testing company allows, there are less restrictions to brute forcing or enumerating stuff or trying all that. In CTFs, it's a very minimal application. You see it and you already know what possibilities could be there, and you just keep on doing with intuition what should be the next thing you should do. But in pen testing, you have to work in a structured way, because you can't miss something going intuitively. So that's what I felt. But obviously, the in the end, the attack strategy is same. The skills you learned in CTF will obviously apply here as well.
Got it. And Bugbase is known actually for its incredible team, right? Incredible founders. I've met the founders before, Kathan Desai and Dhruva Goyal. Phenomenal people, very supportive, very helpful, very sweet. I met them at the conference, and they're also pretty young. They're like 22, 23 years old. I'm sure you must have gotten a chance to work with them during your internship. and you're also working with some of the other people who are part of BugBase. So, what's the culture like at BugBase? I mean, what's your experience working with such a dynamic team virtually? If you could just touch some light on that.
Okay. So, to be honest, it's very good. It's very awesome. Like, it's not the traditional corporate, like they say corporate mazdoor. It's not like that at all. So it's very fun. Uh, I think the team is small. I think that even makes it better because when I work on something, I feel that I'm contributing and I directly contribute to the code base if I'm working on a code or if I'm doing a pen test. The founders are really sweet. I directly work with them. We have meets every few days. We discuss, you know, and we learn a lot. I learn a lot. I think, and they like if I don't know something, they're supportive of it. They help me to learn that, and I think I'm having a great time at BugBase.
Got it. And how did you first come across Cyber Unbound, and what was your first impression? And did your thoughts align with Cyber Unbound platform?
So Cyber Unbound, if I remember correctly, I think Cyber Unbound reached our college club for this sessions that they were taking across India in many IITs as well and other colleges also. So it was basically, guiding students how to do this, make a career in cybersecurity without certifications and building a skill-based profile, which was a very good idea, I think. So I kept in contact with Shikhar after that session as well, and to explore their platform, I started giving their CTF, the like 24/7 running CTF, and it was quite fun. So yeah, I started giving that, and I kept on giving it, not knowing that I would get an opportunity from there. But I was traveling one day, and Shikha just called for the opportunity. It was fun.
Got it. And how was your overall experience with Cyber Unbound? Do you think it's a platform which could actually help out a lot of people, a lot of students, a lot of professionals working in industry? How has your experience been with the platform features and the overall experience you would say with Cyber Unbound?
No, I think the platform is really smooth. I like the community. Discord community is great. People, I contacted some people personally also from there, and they're pretty sweet. The staff is good. The challenges are also really good. I sometimes get to learn also. Sometimes I just know stuff and I just get the score, but sometimes it's about learning also. There are many people already in there, uh, and I think the idea is pretty great. So I think India needed something like that. So I think it will turn out to be great for many students.
Perfect. So, you will, in all our podcast, we usually do this lightning round in which I'll ask you three questions, which our community has given us through the Discord community. And you just have to give me your first thought, which comes in your head. Sounds
Okay.
good?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start the lightning round now. My first question to you is that what's the one cybersecurity skill you think every aspiring red teamer should learn?
So as I said before, I think it's getting to know the stuff in real deep and understanding the developer's POV before attacking
Got it.
anything.
My second question is that what's your go-to resource for staying updated on cybersecurity trends?
I prefer Twitter. Like I follow a lot of good cybersecurity searchers there. I think they do pretty great job.
Got it. And what is one thing which every student should avoid when building their cybersecurity profile?
So I think there are on the internet there are a lot of these I would say kind of fake projects. Like I built this, and you just you just know the stuff from Uber say, and you don't know the depth of it at all. You use AI and all that, and you build something, but then you don't know what you have actually built, how it works. I think it may look good on resume, but if the interviewer asks about it, you are not able to explain it, and it gives a negative effect overall. It's better to have nothing there than having false things that you don't know. So yeah.
Got it. And one more thing which I've noticed is that a lot of people who get internships in cybersecurity is through networking, right? For example, we had on this podcast we had safe security intern before who also got internship through networking, and we had four core intern who also got cybersecurity internship through networking in some sort of way. And I think in some sort of way even you got internship at BugBase through networking with Cyber Unbound in a way. So what's your tip for students how to effectively network? What's your perspective? If a student goes to a particular conference, how should they make a first approach to a particular CISO or any founder in cybersecurity? What's your thoughts on that?
Okay, so I wouldn't say that I am kind of experienced in that because I have never been to one myself. But I think for any good, for a tangible connection, it's always you don't just ask for something when you start for it. When you like, just go and greet whatever whoever you want to meet. Talk about like if the guy is in cybersecurity, if you are in cybersecurity, so you can talk a lot about cybersecurity, right? So if the interests are same, you might just approach them, talk to them, and I think with certain time you can just ask them for the opportunity. I think what they call cold mailing in terms of networking also you can kind of do that. I think it works.
Sure. And what is one thing which you look forward to from Cyber Unbound's platform? What do you think Cyber Unbound should innovate next?
So right now I think you guys are already doing CTFs and events. So personally I think it's going pretty well. I don't expect much anything other than that. But yeah, I think CTFs can be done. You can conduct proper CTF event, 24-hour events as well. I think it will attract more people and give opportunity to more people as well.
Sure, we would love to implement it soon. Would you like to give any kind of final thoughts or final tips to students who would be watching you right now, who would be in the process of probably applying to such internships or probably doing internships at their current companies? Any kind of tips would you like to give them from your experience?
So I would just say that what I've been saying this whole interview basically, the main thing if you are building a skill-based profile is to know certain things in depth. You can't just if you are into security, you can't just know things from developer's perspective only. You have to know that, but you cannot only know that. You should know things deeper than that. You should know how things are working. And the major advice is that it's tough to find internships, but don't lose hope. I think if you keep building your skills, someday or the other you will definitely get the right opportunity.
Sure. Thank you so much, Yuval, for this awesome podcasting with you. I hope this helps a lot of students, a lot of professionals who watch this episode. And thank you so much, Yuval, for joining us in today's podcast. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.